people always think that I'm stronger than I am because I never show it. I will never ask for help. I will never cry to somebody. Our kids still see love and relationships between me and him. You take care of yourself so much more. You know how they say like every person comes into your life to like teach you something? I don't think it was a failure at all.
We're gonna be doing casting. So line up, everybody. Was it suddenly you guys broke up?
Presence is not my love language, but I would like a little
Car.
a house.
What's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. Like, what am I gonna cry?
Yeah.
And it was like the toughest, mentally most draining time of my life.
Wait, I have a good one. There's always rainbow after the rain.
I have a song if you wanna
Welcome,
get in.
everybody.
We are back.
We are back. We're back. Thank you, Ginta, for covering this long 6 months, was it?
It's been a minute, guys, and I'm so happy we're back and I finally see you in person too. It's been a rough year.
I know.
2024 was quite a year, and
Well, apparently it was a leap year. Apparently it was
Really?
really difficult for everybody in Novi Sakosny God. Sorry, I threw some Russian in it. Yeah, it's been a leap year, and I think a lot of people went through like a lot of changes. Same as me and you know.
do you want to share more about what was going on in your
Yeah,
life?
well, I'm not really secretive about it, but I'm not really like putting anything out there. But I started like, I think in June or no, like in last March, April. Yeah, like around March, I started to get separated from the father of my children, Brian. And I think that, you know, sometimes you like see other people separating with kids and you're like, oh my God, it's like the worst thing that could happen, you know, to a family, to a woman, to a mother. And then you going through it and you just get like thrown into it and you're like, "Fuck, how do I deal with it? You know, like how do I like not give up? How do I like still take care of my children, still show up for them, still take care of myself?" Which actually it's also not the greatest thing, but like I throw myself into like working out just so I don't think. So at least I like throw myself into something that it, you know, very artificial, but still makes you kind of feel better, you know?
For sure, physically and mentally. I feel like working out is always,
Right.
at least for me, it's like a go-to whenever you're not feeling good or you feel great. I think it always helps.
It always helps. Like
Yeah.
what they say, I forgot what they say, but something like it's better to be depressed with a cute ass or something. I don't know.
Some Instagram quote.
Yeah, Instagram quote, something like that. But it really, yeah. So we basically separated. We definitely tried, you know, work on our relationships, and relationships apart. There's kids involved, right? So, to my point, you know, after you're kind of go through devastation for like, you know, weeks or months, I seem to get over things quickly and think, okay, how do I make my life better? How do I make better decisions from my, you know, my life and my children? And how do I like move forward, right? Because you're separated, and for me as well as for Brian, all we were trying to do is to become friends, you know, as soon as possible, so our kids still see love and relationships between me and him, even though it's obviously in beginning a lot of, I wouldn't say hate, but it's a lot of like,
Sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
do you want to share with us? Was it suddenly you guys broke up? Did it came to you suddenly out of nowhere, or are you kind of like?
well, I think any relationships don't just end suddenly, you know. It's always something
Evolving
and coming, and I think we talked about it prior as I actually separating for good. And you know, we tried therapy. I think we tried everything that was out there to try.
You did, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I think we tried, and I think because I'm pretty like you know me, I'm like, I'll be like depressed but positive, you know, I'll be still making cracking
You
jokes and
always come
stuff.
out so strong, you
And I
know?
think that, thank you. And I think people always think that I'm stronger than I am because I never show it. Like it's me being Virgo or like being Eastern European. I'm like, I'm good. You know, I will never ask for help. I will never cry to somebody, you know? So sometimes I kind of like strong and I feel like I don't choose this strong, you know, because things happen to me and I'm just like, okay, I just have to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think even to you, I think before you knew me so like so close, like maybe you thought I'm like stronger than I am, but I would like cry to you and I know you still think I'm strong,
I
but
still think you're very strong because I think a lot of girls would crash even more so. Like you came here right at the peak when you guys were going through separation and you were so broken into pieces, um but still I could just tell you you came here, we didn't even talk. You had came here with your girls. You're playing with Axel, like you know, it was like a chill, peaceful afternoon and you were just like so into your own head and thoughts and I was like, wow, this is crazy. You can still like keep it all together, you know? And I feel like I'm just like emotional. I was just like cry nonstop. But like to see you so strong and like
yeah.
um it's you know, it's
And
powerful to
yeah, and outside I seem strong, but that to my point. Outside I'm definitely strong and I think I am stronger person maybe than a lot, you
mm-hmm.
know? But like again, I didn't choose to, you know, not make it work. It just happened. You know, it happens. It's not like it was easy for me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but the biggest part of this whole thing of my devastation is that like, and I feel like for Brian it's the same. It's just like we didn't make it work. We failed our kids, we failed our family, you know, but now we have this like, you know, months and months forward, right? I'm gonna make you cry, but months and months forward, I think and it takes a minute, and I think it took us actually maybe less time than other people because we both were like, you know, went through Hoffman process and we both were like work on ourselves and we're actually trying to like truly become friends and support each other versus like being super separated. I'm sure there will be time in our life when we would live completely separate lives, you know, but we also want to keep that like family, you know what I mean? Like we're not together romantically, but we together as a family.
Yeah,
So I
and you
think,
guys still stay underneath the same roof.
right, we live, you know, steps from each other. We often have breakfast together, you know. We're both trying to, you know, live our separate lives, which is also comes into the challenge because we've been together so long. I mean, 6 years. It doesn't seem like long, but I
It
think,
is long.
right. But 6 years, it's a lifetime. So we, you know, we both still get hurt by other people, other person's like actions. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I do something he doesn't like, and I see it in his face, and he does something I don't like. You see it on my face, but also hear it in my words because I'm more
Yeah.
like outspoken. So yeah, I think after the separation, you like, I failed my family, I failed my kids, but then you're like, okay, how do I actually fix that and make sure it doesn't feel that way, you know, make sure that, you know, kids still have mother and father who like love and support each other
Mm-hmm.
and kind of just like forgive each other for whatever our fights or whatever we did to each other in the past, right? So how do we keep that? It's so hard at the times, you know.
I'm sure. So it's like still all work in progress, even though you
Right,
guys separated in March
right.
and it's almost a year. It
It's not,
doesn't feel
it
like it's
doesn't
been
feel
almost
that
a
way.
year
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
So you guys are at this point right now where you still are figuring it out. You're making it work, kind of living underneath the same roof still, and just figuring out the best for your girls, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what's happening right now, and I think we're doing better job than most. And I don't want to like sound it, but I just feel that way, you know. Maybe we don't, you know, but I
Whatever
see.
works for your family,
Well,
you know?
exactly, but I see like my other friends who like separated and they're like completely very like, you know, court order, 1 week off, 1 week on, and it's just like very black and white, and it works. It's definitely maybe less stressful and works better in some cases, but we're still trying to keep that like family going, even though we're not together, where,
And it's better for girls
I
too,
think
you
so.
know, right?
Especially now. They, like when Brian or me travel for work, I see the kids are not as happy as when we're like in the same, town together at the same time, at the same space. Like even if it's, like we kind of like try to, I guess, give each other breaks. So I would be with the kids like first half of the day, and Brian would be with the kids second part of the day, because we don't have like super set schedule yet, which I'm sure will come very soon eventually when this things are like settled, and this whole separation thing, which is so hard. I really feel for everybody who's going through it. But yeah, I think kids are way happier when they have parents nearby. And even though, like, of course, every parent travels for work, like when you separate it and then you travel, it just seems like it would be so much on kids. So I think we're doing fine,
Do you
but
think kids understand what's happening?
yeah. I
What do you
think
think?
I think they understand, and anytime I hang out with my friends who are males, who I'm obviously not bringing like people who I'm like actually seeing, but if I hang out with my male friends or just like dads, even with my mom friends, my older daughter is like, where is daddy? She,
Yeah.
I think she feels it, but I think she's too young to understand like the separation thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of young to understand for sure.
right.
Because, even for us, like, look, like now you go through this, it's even like hard to manage and figure it out in your own head. For kid, I'm sure it's even, they don't know what's really going on. But
No. And now I even on a drive here to you today, I was thinking about like next year, like what is it better for kids? Everything works different for everybody, but for me it's like, do we do week off, week on, or we do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or do like week on, weekend off? It's like so hard to figure out how is it
But you
better.
want to set it as black and white on paper. Why won't you guys just go with the flow? Like, let's say, you know, you have the trip coming up, work trip, let's say for
Well,
1 week.
that's what
So
we're
you like
doing
you
right
spend,
now, and
yeah.
I think it works because none of us have like serious relationships yet. But and which is, by the way, I might not have relationships for next 2-3 years. Like I don't know, or maybe I'll meet someone who I'm like head over heels next year, and we want to like have a family. So I think right now like this easiness actually works for us because I can travel. I can always drop kids on Brian if I, have to drive to LA for work or fly to New York or even go to Europe, like he's totally fine being like so flexible. And I think he's appreciative of me that I'm really flexible because he does travel more for work than I am. Sun comes out. I'm going to put my glasses on. But I think eventually, but like, yeah, we're not thinking about it yet. But like, of course, it's on the back of my mind. I'm like, what if I like someone who's like, and I think that's part of actually being separated. I'm like, what if I like someone who lives like in New York? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do then? Do I just not go there with my like? It's just
It's just harder to once you have kids to figure all that out because kids always gonna be first. So
exactly.
what do you think you learned from all this? Like, is there any advice you would give to someone who's going through separation right now that you
Oh
maybe
my
learned you
God.
didn't know?
I think there's so much that I feel I learned as a person. You know how they say like every person comes into your life to like teach you something, and I really feel like my and Brian's relationship, first of all, I don't think it was a failure at all because we have these beautiful kids.
You do.
And I always like, and I always know like Brian got my back, I'm gonna cry again, but like I always know we like have each other, and I'm sure it's like same for him. He always knows he has me, so like I know we still like have each other, you know what I mean? But I think the advice is like it's never like a failure. It's one thing if you don't have kids and like your relationship didn't work out, and I'm sure you still learn something. But if you have kids, you stay friendly. I think very important to put your emotions like towards each other, like, oh, but you did that and I did this, and that kind of thing, to put it completely, shove it in your ass and forget it, and just move forward and just like actually become friends for your kids, because essentially it's like the mental health of your kids. Because if they see mother and father, it doesn't matter, you're together, you can be together and hate each other, and it's also not great for them. But if you separated and you're happy and you're still staying friends and you still can sit on a table and smile and like spend birthdays together, or like Friday night dinner together, or something, do once a week as a family, I think that's important. Whereas I feel like sometimes it's so like I was saying, it's like black and white, like always separated, and it's like at 1 o'clock you pick it, and it's like so like scheduled. Me as a person, me, I'm not like that. I'm more like, go with the flow, like what's better for my heart and stuff. So like I'd rather like keep the warm relationships with whoever you have kids with. That's very important. And another thing, I don't think anything is a failure, because I could
It happens for a reason,
yeah,
right?
it happens for a reason, and I could have like another marriage, like it could be great, but then it could, I hope it doesn't fail, but you never know. People don't get married 2-3 times to get divorced. You just,
For sure.
you live and you learn, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's fine.
Do you think there's room for you and him? Maybe when, let's say, you guys are 50, I don't know, I'm just like putting it out there, that you would get back together?
When we're 50?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a long time.
I mean, I just put that number out there. It could be like, let's say a long time away from now.
I mean, I don't think so. I think we're
Really?
I think we're in a pretty okay spot right now, where we, being friends, focusing on work, which is going, knock on wood, great for both of us, like focusing on like raising our kids. I think our romantic relationships is kind of over, but I think we found this like new like love for each other that's very different,
More like friendship level and...
It's like, my friend, all my friends who have been friends for 20 years, I love them so much. And like I would be so happy, and if I have like the same love for, Brian. Of course he will always be father of my children. He will always like, I will always have that like father of my children love to him, but he also could be my friend, because our kids next 20, 30, 40 years, like will always be in each other's life. And I think the faster you like go over the hump, or over like resentment, I resent you for this, I resent you for that. There's always resentment in some kind of way when you like live together. The faster you can move on with your own life. You know what I mean? Like,
For sure. But it's hard, a lot of emotions are attached. Like, I'm a pretty emotional person, and I've gone through divorce prior, so I know what it feels like. Obviously not at the level when you have kids. That's add completely another layer to it. But it's very emotional and hard jumping into unknown, right? Because it's almost like it's your safe space, it's your secret space. You created that. That's like your livelihood. And then suddenly it's like part of it is taken away, and it changes things, and for sure makes you stronger.
No, but you know what, Ginta, in a funny way, I obviously date people now, right? And like in a funny way, like sometimes I'm like, okay, this guy is kind of cool, but then he does something stupid, and I'm like, oh my god.
Like what you
like
what you showed me today.
Yeah, like what I showed you, like send me some like lame freaking selfie, and I'm like, who does that? I'm like, oh my god, is that what people do now? I'm like, well, I always have Brian, it's like he always got my back. Like if I need something like manly, like I always have him. So that's kind of like nice feeling.
You know that you're gonna have him for life.
Yeah, exactly. I know I'm gonna have him for life, because I will always be mother of his children, and he's so lovely with Sticky. He's the best father. So even that, because he's such a good father, he obviously wants the mother of his children to be like happy, right? So anytime anytime I get disappointed and like the guy or he does something stupid, I'm like, oh my god. I'm like,
well, but guys, Maryna's back on market, okay? So we're gonna be doing casting. So line up, everybody.
I would say from my, not like you ask me, but on a funny note, from experience being like back to dating, the guys are hilarious these days.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell
So
us more.
so the first thing is definitely like the selfies. The second thing, it's maybe it's California, but it's so like, I think I don't know if I'm gonna piss off half of the women in California, but it's like all this like feminism is like way too like intense. Where I, I went. I'm not gonna say where I went, but I was seeing this person, and I don't know. There was like no flowers or anything, and I was like so confused by dating. But then you date someone else, and they're lovely. So it's just
By
like,
what? What do you mean there's no flowers? Like he took you somewhere?
yeah, it's just like the little things, like when you court someone. That's what they say in America, courting, right? Kind of like dating,
Okay.
как ухаживать.
Yeah, I didn't know because
Yeah,
I'm out
so
of the
right, so courting exactly.
Okay.
And I'm like, the guys are just like, I think the girls have been so easy these days, the
Oh, I see what
the
you
woman
mean.
being, I feel like it's just so much accessibility to like woman, and I don't know what it is. I'm just not like that. I like, I like nice little gestures. Not necessarily, I'm not like a present kind of person. That's not my love language.
Yeah.
But I like little gestures,
What's
like.
your love language?
So my love language,
She's back.
my love language, that too. But definitely quality time. I do love a little talk too, kind of like words of affirmation that goes into dirty talks too. Like I like that little bit of excitement. The presence is not my love language, but I would like a little
Car.
car, a house.
Oh, just like a little sprinkle.
But like a little card, not a card, but like a little funny card, or like a flower, like here and there, just something like little that I know. Like,
Yeah.
the guy took his time to do it.
Yeah, that's cute.
Or
I
like
like
a
that.
little trip, or I don't know. Someone did something nice to me recently. Oh, someone offered me to get some groceries for me. That
That's
was
so
nice.
sweet.
That's so sweet. I was like, I actually don't have milk for my coffee. Like something like it doesn't.
That's really sweet.
It doesn't like matter what it is.
Yeah.
It's just that the person actually thinks that I might need. Like I'm a mother of 2 little kids, so I could be missing some grocery item. You know what I mean?
Always.
And I feel like guys these days are like, hey, like come see me, and I'm like, what do you mean come see me? I have 2 kids. I can't come see you. Like the right question will be like, hey, are you free this weekend? Do you have kids? Would you be able like to see me this weekend?
But it probably all changes as well because like when you were a mom,
Yeah.
it's just like when I did interview with Stormy and she was saying how dating life is now where she's a single mom and if she goes on a date, she needs to find a nanny, right? Someone who's gonna watch the kids, and that's what, like $200 a night, let's say. Uber ride, right? That's another, depends where you go. Then you have drinks, dinner, and then like you split the bill or take care of dinner or whatever. You spend money, then again Uber ride back. So like at the
Yeah,
end,
you're
she's like,
$500 out.
you spend so much money on just like going on a
Exactly.
date, and like it really needs to be something.
It needs to
It's
make
like
sense
to leave
for
the
you,
house, right? Yeah.
I know. Well, actually, this other person offered me to pay for a nanny so we can go on a date. I was like, well, that's a nice gesture, and nanny
Really
is like
nice.
what, like $30 an
You know,
hour.
it's very thoughtful.
Very. That's what
Yeah.
I mean. It's not about like getting me a house or a Birkin or a car, or even though that would be nice probably too. But like
Yeah.
like you said, it's if you go for dinner at 6 or 7, you come back at 10. That's like already $200 in a nanny, right? And then, like you said, I'm not gonna drunk drive, so I need to take an Uber. It's another $100. It's like, yeah, it's just like being a mom is like, it's tough as is. And if people just expect you like show up looking hot and like ready to like party, like don't date a mother, that's for sure.
For sure.
A single mother. well, you can date non-single mother,
Do you
I
think
guess.
guys who have children already, they understand that better? No? Or no, not necessarily?
I think they understand that better, and I don't think I've seen anyone who actually had kids. I've been manifesting that for myself. I'm like, well, it'll be perfect if, because I already have 2 children and I already had a boob job, so I'm like, I don't necessarily need to go there again. So like,
Yeah.
it would be great.
Shop's closed.
Right, shop's closed for now. We'll see if we,
Yeah.
but it would be great for me to meet someone who's like kids, who maybe like a tiny bit older, understands like how it works, but then like how it is in life. You never know.
You never know, for
I might
sure.
meet another 25-year-old.
So, what is Maryna's type? I know.
You know, but I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna be judged. So
Why?
I don't know. I just
Do you think you have this thing? Do you think you have particular type, or it's like?
I'm all over the place, Ginta.
I feel like you had more particular type when you were more single before Brian, and now, as a mom, you see it differently. No, am I wrong?
I'm a little bit all over the place, yeah. But I'm trying not to. Okay, I tell you one thing. I'm trying not to go for younger again
No younger.
because it's a little bit of my pattern. And I don't know
Okay.
why I choose that. Maybe I'm like matured a bit after I had kids, but I'm like really fun. So I feel like I always
Tend to go for younger just because they
or
want
like
to have
younger,
fun.
like
Yeah.
my age, which is like still considered young. I'm 37-year-old guys still could be all over the place. So I'm trying to like go after like go for. I'm not saying after. Go for like a little bit like a mature man. See how it goes. I don't know.
Does he have to be taller than you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've had my ex-boyfriends who have been like madly in love with who's little.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. But I feel like, okay, one other thing I want to make a point of. I feel like in the beginning of your separation, you feel like your life is like literally over. And then that goes out quickly because you start thinking of your kids. When you're single, so this is a good point I wanted to make. So when you're in relationships without kids, you kind of really struggle because they're like, oh, he was the love of my life. I'm not never gonna find anyone ever again. But when you have kids, you barely have those thoughts. Your devastation is more about like, I didn't make my family work. I failed my kids, right? I already said that. I failed my kids. You don't really think like you're never gonna find anyone else because you don't really think about it. You think about your kids. You don't really think about yourself. So you think about your kids. So you kind of transition from like that devastation really like quickly into like, I need to make sure my kids are okay. How are my kids are gonna be okay? It's if I'm out, I'm okay, Because when you're single without the kids, you can afford probably like be like heartbroken, a mess, going partying, taking drugs, drinking for way longer. I wasn't even doing that because I had my kids. And I have my kids obviously most of the time still. And that passes quickly, and then you take care of yourself so much more having kids. So you end up, I feel like you end up into this like healthier, happier space so much faster. Like I would always say like you end up on the other side, right? And then you're like, I wake up and like, wow, like sometimes I drive, I'm like, wow, the palm trees are so beautiful, and I'm like, oh, I guess I like over the hump because like things make me like happy,
For sure.
So I feel like actually having kids, to your point, it does make you stronger, and you like care about your self love and like your feelings way more than if you just like devastated and heartbroken by yourself and you really don't care what happens to you.
For sure. For sure. Well, Maryna, I hope you're gonna find someone. I don't even. Do you think you're looking for someone?
I'm actually not.
There you go.
I'm like so good.
Maryna's enjoying palm trees right now. What are you talking?
I'm chilling. I'm surfing. I'm working. I'm taking care of my kids. I think me and Brian getting along pretty okay for considering going through like this big life-changing thing. You know, both of us trying to find their own happiness, and I see him also, you know, working out, trying to do bike rides, hikes, whatever we're doing around our area. You know, we live in a beautiful area. So I think I honestly, if someone came along and offered me the world, like I don't even know if I'm ready to jump into other relationships right now. I enjoy little dates here and there and some like fun for sport, you know, like I don't really like
Some fun for sport. I love it.
some fun sport, but I don't really necessarily want to like jump into other relationships. That's for sure not in my
For sure.
agenda, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like we're so mature now, right? It's like looking at things way different than we would look like 10 years ago.
Before I would be so scared to be single, but I'm like, what do I need another? Unless it's like 100% like wow, I'm not in there for it at all. Unless it's like 100% my like my head, my heart, my soul, my body like has no anxiety next to the person. I know it's gonna be forever. I probably just gonna be into my own, and I feel like once you have that like self-love, I don't know, it sounds cheesy, but it's so true. Like once you have that self-love and that like groundedness, right? Like you
Like
attract,
grounding.
right? You attract that. So I think the more I am happy and healthy and just like set myself, also make sure I can like work and support myself and the kids, I feel like it will come. But right now I'm good.
Would you change anything when you look back?
Um, you know, you caught me. That's why I didn't want to like film before, you know, because I think you caught me into like couple last month. I've been finally on the other side, you know, and I feel like maybe, you know, me and Brian, you know, we had kids and had our pretty long relationships. Like, you know, marriages like last for less than we stayed together. To learn to get better for yourself and like maybe for my future like partner or even my kids, you know, so I can be like a better mother and more grounded and just like a better person, you know.
So no regrets, no,
No
you wouldn't
regrets
change
at all.
anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I could after Hoffman I realized I have anger issues.
Really?
Yeah. And I know we wanted to interview my teacher. We actually will. It just came to me.
Maybe you can tell what's Hoffman. I don't think a lot of
Hoffman
people know.
is
may not know.
hard to explain. Hoffman is a process that makes you realize your pattern problems, your problem patterns, patterns that are problem. I don't know. There's so many ways to say it. So some people would be an easy one would be like lying, self not worthiness, you know, like self-doubt.
And do they help you break through that?
Well, they help you realize them first.
Okay.
So my patterns personally were really funny because they're like anger issues, you know, or something like
Like, damn, I didn't know that. Or you
Right.
were like, oh, I knew that.
no, I knew that I have like
Anger
my
issues. I would not see you.
anger and spiraling out of control, my main problem in life. Because when I start spiraling, I can be like, this palm tree is brown. Why is it brown? Oh my god, it's brown because it doesn't have an, oh my god, you know, and I will like spiral so hard. So in our relationships I would be so spiraling, and even with my friends, like if my friends answers me like sharply, I'm like, Simon, what did I say? Something? Did I do something? And it doesn't mean I spiral about other people. I also spiral about myself.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I get like a pimple before a period. I'm like, shit, what if I get the job? And then like I spiral about like the stupidest things ever. And that's my negative pattern they call them. Like yours could be like something else, you know, I don't know.
Too emotional.
Too emotional, but they make you break it out. And they make you, first of all, they make you realize the patterns, right? And it's so different for everyone. Like some people have like no self-love at all, you know, some people very like socially awkward, and it all comes essentially from our parents, and our parents' problems come from their parents. So they make you forgive your parents. It's very deep process. I never felt so crazy in my life. They make you go inside and speak to your like soul and things. And it sounds crazy when I explain. That's why they really tell you not to explain it to anybody. But it changed my complete world. And now I know when the pattern is coming out. I still sometimes act on it. I still get angry, but I know it's my pattern. I'm like, how do I get not angry? I got myself like a red light, and I do a lot of like Joe Dispenza meditations. I try to like breathe and like not get angry, and I'm working on it. And
Is it working, you think?
I think it helped me a lot. Yeah. I think it helped me a lot in relationship with the father of my children too. Like we're both trying to, I'm like, okay, the patterns are coming up on us. Like we need to take space and like deal with our patterns, and then see if we still want to fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Smart.
Yeah.
It's good, and you both did it.
We both
through
did
this
it, which I
process.
think, I think it helped. Like my patterns and Brian patterns is like so different. I'm obviously not gonna share any of his like personal stuff, but like it's like my patterns is like here, his patterns is like all over there, but it's like throw each other's patterns on each other, and it's like a mess. So, and any relationships, like I know you have your completely different fights with Brian, like my friends have their spirals and things with their partners, and
For
it's
sure, everyone has their own. But it's
but
good you guys realized what are yours and what
yeah,
to work on, right?
yeah. And sometimes we'll be all like Hoffman. I'm like, I feel like your pattern is coming on, and it's like,
It's
okay,
kind of cool when you talk like that. Like,
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And I'm like, did I check in with my with my spiritual self today? And sometimes my spiritual self really talks to me. It's weird. It's like I really like listen to my body, and body never like lies, because when I'm like come to you, I'm so happy, you make me calm. But sometimes I speak to some of my friends where like my body like shakes, and I'm like, that can be good, for me, that relationships. And doesn't have to be a romantic relationship,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
it's a lot of my relationships now is my relationships with my friends, because I'm not like seriously dating anybody. So, and I notice some of my friends stress me out. I have like, I'm like, that's not good for me.
Well, that's another thing, you have to be selective. I feel like as well, like this year for me, a couple friendships have changed. And I think it's partially because, like, you grow older. You always prioritize, again, your kids. We talk so
Yeah,
much about kids,
I
but that's
know.
where we are in our lives, right? And it
Yeah.
just like changes with certain friends. Like, if you're not kind of on the same page, then, like, things just happen. It doesn't mean like that person is bad or you're bad. It just like, you know, changes.
They always say that same person is bad and good and someone's else's story.
So talking about spiritual inner child, whenever there's moments sometimes like I would walk in a house and I would be like, I feel like anxious and there's like some
Yeah.
and it's like, where's this coming from? And it seems like there's so much noise or whatnot, like in your own head. And then I'm like, okay, Ginta, just like put everything aside. Like, what is in here? Like, what is your gut telling you?
Right.
What, like, where is it coming from? And then you just sit down. Like, that's what I usually do. I sit down and I'm like, okay, like peeling like onion. And I'm like, okay, let's get to the core. What exactly is happening in me? And then I would always find answer. And I'll be like, oh, this is what
Well, that's what
triggers
they
the whole
teach you
thing.
to do. See, you already
Really?
know. So, see, you already know what to do, but they just tell you like sometimes like you're not like. That's exactly what they tell you to do. The kind of like they tell you to sit down and be like, what does my body need? Okay, maybe like, oh, maybe like I didn't work on my asthma. Like body kind of needs like either rest or exercise. Because that's body. It's just physical. And then what is your like head needs? Does it need more stimulation, or does it need more peace? And then what your kind of spiritual self needs, like where it's kind of like where is your soul fades off, and it's just like maybe something creative, right? Maybe you want to like something me and you do together, like maybe you need to whatever it is for different people is different. So what you just said exactly, it's exactly
Yeah.
what they but they make you like meet them, which is like very interesting.
So interesting. And like lately, what like triggered me was actually one of my friendships. something happened this summer, and I didn't realize how like it triggered me until like
Crazy,
way
yeah.
later, and I was like, oh my gosh, so that's why I feel a certain way about this person, because I was treated a certain way and I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that now I'm just like looking at that friendship a bit like,
Well,
you
do
know,
I know
like you
that
kind of.
story?
No, it's not
No.
that. That's the thing. It's not even
Okay.
like that major of a
You just like,
story.
you
It's
feel like,
just like
yeah.
where it's like feelings, and like you really with age you validate them and like listen to yourself more. And I'm like, I want a peace in my life. You know, I want to surround myself with
Totally.
friends
Totally.
that I love and enjoy spending time
Yeah.
together. I don't want to like waste my time
Yeah. You don't
and
feel like
like
it's
get
work.
hurt. You know,
Yeah.
because I feel like we all got hurt by friendships, but it's like I'm at that point where at this age where I don't want to get hurt by
No,
friendships,
for
you
sure
know?
not. No.
So like
Yep.
we're
So
like
you just
more
have to cut it
protected.
off, and then you feel so good, you know? I've cut so many people this
Let's talk about cutting people.
yeah, I've got so many people out of my life, and I'm like, I can breathe now. Like my
Right?
back doesn't feel tight. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy, you know?
It occupies your
It's
mind,
crazy.
and it's like you
Yeah.
think about it, that's other people in your own head. And
Yeah.
you're like, why am I like so like worked up about
Yeah.
things the person wouldn't even probably even doesn't even care that much, you know,
No,
about
they don't give a shit probably,
No.
but like it's in your head. You're right.
exactly.
I mean, like through my separation, there's been people like I was like surprised they were there for me. I was like, wow. And like their advices and like mainly, you know, picking up my phone call. It was like you, Elizabeth, and my friend Gigi picked up my every freaking phone call or going every fucking same thing over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
Stand for hours with me on the phone. But my friends who I thought were my best friend in the world, I can't speak English sometimes, sorry. They didn't even check on me until this day. It's been a year, you know? So, yeah. And it's just like people show you who they are, you know? Someone calls and checks on you, they're your friends, you know? They don't need to do
100%.
it. It's like so much headache to listen to my spiraling stories, you know?
Yeah, but if you care and it's friendship,
Yeah.
like I just know how hard it is. Like I've been through that.
For sure.
It sucks. It's horrible, and it doesn't matter you the person who breaks up or like someone breaks up with you. It just sucks.
It sucks, for sure. Yeah.
And it does something to you so crazy mentally. So like I'm just happy that you found that space with Brian that's like semi calm and like you guys
Yeah.
can co-parent and
For sure.
you know, it was a rough year for you,
It's rough, yeah. It was rough, but
but you did it, babe.
I'm just
And
trying
I think it's
to...
just like beginning to something greater. You always have to think about like, you know,
For sure.
how
Yeah.
you're gonna elevate your soul
gonna
and like
elevate,
kick
yeah.
ass.
And also, like, a lot for me, I feel like we're, like, getting so spiritual, but, like, you know, because I've been doing a lot of Joe Dispenza, and he always talks about how, like, you come here as, like, this consciousness, right? And your body is just, like, your tool kind of to experience different things and, like, create your own, like, story. And I'm like, oh, it's fun. So now I get to create something new and greater. You know, now I'm gonna like create this and that, and Brian is gonna be like in my story, right? Like maybe in Brian's head, like it's completely different. But like in my head, you know, I have my beautiful kids, and I have Brian as my best friend, and we support each other. And then I have, you know, right now I'm not thinking about having a partner because I'm not there yet. You know, I'm like kind of having a lot of fun and like fine by myself.
As you
but like
should, yeah.
as I should, but like when I'm ready to go out, and I'm gonna have a great partner, and we're gonna travel the world and like give like my kids the best life. So that's what I'm kind of like manifesting. And it's just like if I would hear this from someone like a year ago when I was going through separation, I would be like, shut the fuck up, you know? But where I am right now, I'm like, you do create your own reality, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I mean, some days I still cry, but some days I'm like really like joyful, you know?
No, I see a lot of light in you, babe.
I know,
So-
it was tough. But I wanted to talk about you.
Oh,
Now our exciting
okay.
news!
Ah!
So,
She's pregnant.
she's pregnant. Ginta is pregnant. Congratulations.
Thank you, babe.
We're not gonna share sex yet.
Not yet. That we save for next episode, right?
Save for the next episode.
But I'm halfway through.
You're halfway through, and it's my baby as much as it's your baby, because no one wanted this baby more than me.
Marina was like, when baby comes, I'll be here first.
When baby comes, I'm gonna be a night nurse because I'm obsessed with
Yes,
newborns.
please. Welcome. More hands on deck. Please come over.
And yeah, how do you feel? How did you find out? How did how is Brian feels? Is he so excited, or are you guys are nervous? I know you're a little nervous because 2 kids is hard, and you see how I navigate that
Yeah.
and stuff. But like,
Yeah.
obviously, you're excited. Tell me how is like your feelings.
Before we start about me,
Yeah.
well, I have this question in my mind.
Okay. Oh my God. Another
So
question.
about kids.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you have first kid, it's the
Yeah.
kid you want, like you don't know what to expect, and like it's your love child, right?
Right.
Do people mostly do second kid for because to have a friend for the first?
Oh my God. What a question, Kinta. Jeez. How can I
Or
even answer that? I mean,
I mean,
like it's actually funny because me and Brian had a second baby, yes, because we both wanted 2 kids, and our whole thing was we didn't want kids was like other people, because like
well, you already have one together, so like why not two? Actually, a lot of people are like that.
yeah, and I don't know why we decide. I mean, we didn't really decide. We just it was like natural. We were together. We were engaged. Obviously, it was natural that we had another kids, but another baby. But I think I also was, you know, kind of scared to have kids with multiple people. So I was like, I'm gonna have 2 children with Brian, who is a great father, which was important for me. And we stayed together for another 3 years. So yeah, I think seeing kids just like one kind of like one child families, it's just like painful, for me. I'm like, they have no friends, I'm like, do you want to just bring bring your child so they can play with you and
Yeah.
Sophia? And like they best is they like fight, they
Yeah.
kiss, they hug,
And they learn so
yeah.
much from each other, and I feel like
Yeah.
even for oldest one, suddenly you have to take care of the little one, so it's like a
Yeah.
more responsibility. Think about our days, kids don't really have that much responsibility.
No.
So that's like when you have a sibling, they're
Yeah.
like, okay, I have to deal with this, you know?
Right, and they get
So,
more like mature, and I feel like
yeah.
the second child is way more mature because Anna Sophia is 5 and Gia is 3, and like they do the same things, and Gia is like, Mom, why is
Yeah.
Anna Sophia crying?
Yeah.
Like she's so funny.
So cute.
Yeah, such a like second child, like just like puts toothpaste on her toothbrush by herself since she was like 2, like already potty like trained, doesn't need diaper at night. Like they're like way faster because they look
Yeah.
at their much older.
The good example, running around.
Yes, it's
So
cute.
But yeah, I'm pregnant with the second one. It's so crazy to me because, well, first of all, it was like always that thought like we want a sibling for Axel,
For sure, absolutely.
Just as you said, that's like I grew up with brother, same as you did, and I cannot imagine my life any other way. And actually, I heard on some other podcast yesterday, with the relationship with your sibling is the longest relationship
right.
you have in your life. And I was like, oh my God,
It's like the
actually
most
so
important
true.
relationships you have with your life, which
Yeah.
is crazy. I never thought of it. I saw that diagram. I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
And it's just like that love with sibling. It's so funny. I called my brother on Valentine's Day, right? And he picks up and he starts laughing. And I'm like, why are you laughing? He's like, well, Ginta, like, it's Valentine's Day. You're supposed to, like, it's for spouses, not for brother and sister. And I'm like, but I love you so much. I'm just wanted to let you know. And he thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
It's just like that love you have for each other is way different than when anybody
And you're
else.
like similar age, so you're similar age, so you go kind of through life together. Whereas like they say like your parents die or you move, and it's like first you move out of the house and then they die and then you live. Your kids, they kind of also your parents, so it's the same thing from the other way around. But yeah, I think siblings are important, and me and Brian always wanted to have 2 children and them to be siblings, and they're 2 girls, and you guys gonna have whatever you're gonna have, and they'll be besties anyway.
Exactly. And like just from that point of view, we're just like, we gotta do a second one. Brian has a sister too, so it just like I feel like they need to have that responsibility, and it's a beautiful thing. And of course we want a second baby, and I think both of us since the beginning, Brian, I mean, we were like 2 kids. That's just like not even a question somehow. And little bit of a backstory. I got pregnant in January already last year, and it was pretty early, like 3 weeks in. I had like a chemical miscarriage.
Oh shoot, yeah, I remember that.
So that's like whoever wants can Google what that means. But basically, it's like super early. 3 weeks that it creates embryo, but it doesn't latch yet, and that's why a lot of females don't even know about this, because it kind of starts like a period.
Yeah.
It rolls into your period, so like you don't really know. I just feel my body so well, and I did the test. It was positive, and like I just know the feeling, right? Second time you kind of know
You
what
totally
it feels
know
like.
when you're pregnant. I know.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And it was kind of sad. Brian was away, and I was already planning how I'm gonna tell him when he comes back from work trip. And then the same night, yeah, it's just like my period started, and I was really, really like bummed. But I was like, you know what, like what's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. Like, what am I gonna cry,
Yeah.
And like it is sad, of course, but it was so early on, and I'm grateful it better happened super early than like
Yeah, a couple
later,
months
or
in, for sure.
so and just things happen for a reason. But anyways, after that I was like, you know what, we should just like not try, like let's take it easy and just enjoy life without any stress, thinking too much about that. And then we kind of like just start trying in summertime, and then by October I got pregnant. And it's so crazy. Axel's born July 13, and baby's due date is July 14.
What? They might be born on the same day.
Axel was born on his due date. So it's
That's
possible
crazy.
if this one is punctual, this baby, then.
My kid's born the same month as well.
Yeah,
Which is
true.
like so funny.
That's true.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
That's crazy. So when I calculated that, I was like, is this for real? And then like I
Yeah.
confirmed with doctor, and then I told Brian, and he's like, you're kidding me, right? What do you mean? What? Like same date? I'm like, yes.
Well, you say when the birthday parties, but I can tell you they
I
hate
know.
joint birthday parties, the kids.
Really? Oh, because you're same month,
It's
so
like
like
competition, yeah. So, and my kids is like first and 20th. It's like too far apart to
kind
do,
of
yeah. But it's so exhausting because it's Anna Sophia, then it's Gia, then it's Thanksgiving 4 days after that, then it's
Christmas.
Christmas, yeah.
It's a lot. And
I mean,
then
it's
yeah,
Anna
like,
Sophia Gia, Gia, or Thanksgiving Anna Sophia
Yeah.
Gia. I don't know, sorry, American.
it's all
Those
like in a
holidays,
one.
yeah.
It's so
But it's like
interesting.
there within weeks. How are you feeling with the
so-
second one?
Yeah, so like I feel good, like because let me just finish about the Brian.
Okay.
Brian was very happy when I told him. So how I told him, let me tell you a story. Way different the first time than the way I did first time. This time it was kind of like we already knew what we were working towards, so kind of like Brian's like, okay, like what do you think, and like what's happened. I was like, you know what, let me buy a test because I feel like I'm pregnant. And he's like, no way. Okay, so like we got the test, I did the test, and then both of us, we turned it around at the same time, and I think one showed positive, one didn't show anything.
Well,
I
it
was
never
like-
falls positive, so
Yeah, that's what they
it falls
say.
negative,
So
but there's no such a thing.
and I just think the first one I probably did something wrong, because the other positive was super positive. So
Oh wow.
and yeah, and that's it. We made doctor appointment, and doctor was like, yeah, it's all happening. But that first time you go to doctor, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, tests show positive, but like, what's if I'm not? Like you
Yeah.
just like have this like
Yeah.
and you can't go too early. You
I
always
love
have
when
to
you're
wait.
first just pregnant because doctor is like, come back to me in like 25 months. You're like,
Yeah.
what do I do now? Like nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, come back when you're 3 months
It's like
pregnant. You're like,
nothing.
what do I do?
It's really funny.
Like, can I still drink alcohol and take drugs?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then like first 3 months I was so tired. I wasn't that tired with Axel.
Yeah.
This time I was like, oh my God, so this is what it feels when you have zero energy. Like I couldn't wash
Zero, I know.
dishes. Like I could not do anything. I only wanted to sleep. I would drive Axel to school and I could fall asleep while I'm driving. I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Evenings when I'm with Axel at home, I can't even play with him. I'm so tired.
I know.
You know?
I was really tired my second pregnancy. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was craving lots of salad. And pretty much like I didn't really have much of an appetite the first couple months. It was just like, yeah, just salads. I was craving like more water, things like that. And then once I passed the 3-month mark, then it just like went away, and I'm like nothing, like normal. Like with Axel was the same
And you don't
thing,
have
like,
many cravings. You're not like eating like a crazy person.
I am definitely eating more.
Yeah.
I'm craving more chocolate now. Which, like, after I gave birth to Axel, I didn't really eat much sweets, like, in general. But now I'm, like, back on chocolate. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, chocolate.
Chocolate,
And,
that's funny.
yeah. But besides that, I really... One time, Brian grossed me out in the kitchen. He was making steak. And I just, like, I cannot. Like, sometimes smell of meats.
Can I tell you something? I was thinking about it yesterday. I don't know why we're thinking about pregnancy. Maybe because I was seeing you. But I remember my both pregnancy. You know how I was pretty skinny, but like my belly was like so big.
Yeah, it really was big.
I thought food was so disgusting to me. Ugh. I would look at food and I'm like, how can, like, if you eat food, you were disgusting to me. Like, I had like such a aversions towards like food in general. But I knew I needed to eat something for the baby. But I can totally relate to
So
that.
what did you eat? If everything grossed you
I
out?
eat soups. Soups were like kind of not that gross to me, but like I was like I remember I would be like in a restaurant and see people eating food and like it was almost like in the movies, you know how they like zoom it into their like mouth. I was like, oh,
That was kind of me the first month,
Yeah.
but especially with meat, like the smell of cooked
Yeah.
I was like, oh my
I
God.
know, disgusting.
Yeah, I was not craving any meats at all, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird because they're like good vitamins anyways. But yeah, it's been going well. I'm doing vitamins, prenatal ritual. We talked about it
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
So good. And some extra fish oil. I actually just got vitamin D as well.
D is
Feel like I
good.
need some. And other thing, like my skin gets so dry. Now it's like last couple days it's finally kind of normal.
Yeah.
I'm glad because today we're filming because I was like, oh my gosh, my skin like around the nose and like this area like red. And I was like,
Well, LA's been
flaky.
questionable
I
air
think
quality
with fires
too.
too, and it's just like not the
Yeah.
best air. So
But
that's
it
been kind
rained,
of
so I
tough.
think it helped because it
Oh,
put
maybe
all the
that's
bad.
why. That's true.
It rained. It rained for like in Ojai. It rained a lot. Ojai is
rained here
pretty
too.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, when I get to the city from Ojai, I get headache immediately. I feel like
Really?
air here. I feel like air here. Obviously, it's more polluted. I live like in the mountains and like a little town, you know. But it's pretty dry. Yeah. California in general is.
For sure. It dries me
And
out. Winter time is really, really hard for skin. I feel like, you know,
winter
my
is,
hands.
yeah. I can't wait for summer and like be tanned. Oh, and surf. I
Right.
surfed in the water yesterday and I feel like I got like sick from all the toxins. I don't know. Not a great idea, but and yeah, this year was it was different.
You know, I just had to deal with some certain situation for like from like June to November, and it was like the toughest, mentally most draining time of my life. And like one day I can tell the full story, but right now I'm still so scarred from that.
I know.
It's probably the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. It just proves like how people can take advantage of you, and like how much you have to protect yourself, and like, and it's hard. Like looking back, I'm like, there's nothing I could have changed. Like if I look back,
That's the thing. You don't know. You're so into like your life, and you're like, oh, this person is like, you know, my boyfriend or husband or whatever. He has like my best interest, and then they end up like ripping the money off of you or like making you
Yeah.
like do shady deals. It's like so crazy.
and they just like, and you trust because like you know, I'm not American. I'm come
Right.
here as a foreigner, working hard and thinking that, you know, my money is being taken care of, and
Yeah.
you know, people take advantage and certain things happen, and then you're just like, oh my God, like who can I actually trust?
It's crazy because I feel like as models, we start so early, like earlier than other people to like work. You know, like what do I know at 13? You know?
Yeah.
What I know at 13 about I'm like, yeah, money comes, you spend it. You know, but I feel like literally agents should like sit you down and talk about all that stuff because they throw you into like million of dollars and then you do what? Like what do you do with it? You know, it's hard.
And
then-
especially, you know, you come from different country. Every
Right.
country has different rules. So like
Yeah.
coming here, I think it is important for your agency to sit down and talk to you, or like have another 10 people's opinion,
Right.
you know, and like we come from countries where talking about money is such a sensitive thing. Like you don't really
Totally.
talk even with
No,
your family.
no.
Like no one has idea about it.
Here's like everyone like of like, what do you do? How much
Exactly.
money you make?
Yeah, and here it's like so open. Like
Yeah.
so, I feel like I wish I was that more open and like talking, seeking more advice from other people, and not just trusting two people. You know, thinking like that they're the smartest people that I ever met, which is
Totally.
like a lot of times it's not true, and a lot of times people just don't have your best interest, even experts. So I don't really know, like, but you really have to cover yourself and seek for other people opinion, and just like talk more about it. And I feel like it's not talked enough, especially in our industry.
Yeah.
And agents needs to take over that role as parents and for girls and just educate them somehow.
Totally.
know
Or just tell them, there's stranger dangers around.
Stranger danger. So that was kind of tough, and that's another reason
Yeah.
why me and Maryna, we kind of took a break.
Yeah.
It's just for our own mental sake. It was just like
It's
really
been fucking hard.
it's been hard.
Tough.
I mean, you realize it's life, but then there's like some curveballs that gets thrown at you, and you're like, "Oh my God, what I have done so wrong in my life to like deal with all this?"
But then
crap.
one other thing, everyone is going through something. I always tell this to myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, it might like
Sure.
like I told you about my friend. He's like, you look fine on Instagram. I'm like, I don't have to check on it. I'm like, what do you mean I look fine? I don't even post anything that I'm like fine on Instagram. I post like cute fashion pictures,
People always get mistaken. They look at your
Right.
beautiful pictures, they just think everything's fine.
Yeah, totally, which is another thing. Like the Instagram thing is fake, but I do love beautiful pictures and like, the content and the designers are like who support me. Like I'm happy to take it. It's my art. Essentially it's my art. That's what I do. That's not my life. You know what I mean? Like I don't post there, hey, I cried this morning because I felt like failed in making lunchbox for my kids, like it was shitty. Like I don't really do that, but it's important to know that whatever you see on Instagram or like my beautiful self or my beautiful pictures, that's not like reality, which sometimes I wish it was, but I don't wish also for anything different. But your online life is not your life.
For sure.
And it goes for everybody. Like same like every woman we interview, we're like, holy shit. You went through that? That's crazy.
Everybody. So true. So true. But on positive note, out of all of this, if I think back, 2024 is the year when I got pregnant. And
So
thinking about like how people sometimes go on vacations to like get pregnant, and like I was on vacation this summer, like last summer, and it didn't work out, and then yet I'm going through something so traumatic, something so emotionally draining, physically draining, and then I get pregnant in October, on which we found out, I think it was like December or something, that I was pregnant. And it was just like out of all this like mess that was happening in my own life, getting something so beautiful out of it. I was like so grateful and thankful that I have this baby that I'm...
Wait, I have a good one. There's always rainbow after the rain.
Good one, Maryna.
Good one. Nailed it.
Did it take you all this episode to go up with this?
Here. But yeah, I think just in life we go, okay, there's another thing that I always think of. As conscience, we come to this life to experience different emotions, right? And it's never like, oh, you go through like a bad emotion time, right? Just bad time, and there's good time, and it's gonna stay good. It always goes like up and down. And like, yes, I probably sound stupid because that's like duh. That's like clearly that's what happens. But I always, when I'm in a bad pattern of my life, I'm like, okay,
it's a good reminder.
This also shall pass. And when I'm in a good time, I'm really appreciative because I also know this shall pass, but I'm hoping it will stay or as long or as beautiful as is. And, even you go through the day, you're like in a bad mood, you're in a good mood, it like all passes. So it's important to know that, like, I know what, like, I'm saying this now, it doesn't seem that big, but when I was like so bad, I'm like, okay, I know this is going to end and I will, love myself again. I will be happy again. I will be relaxed again, grounded, whatever it is for, same like for you were going through that thing and then you got pregnant, and it's...
Yeah, it came out as a miracle because I was not expecting through because my emotional state was really bad. Like,
Yeah.
really,
I
there was
know.
like a month that I was just like, all I had, like, I was just praying God and dealing with what I had to
Mm-hmm.
deal with, and just like being in my own
Mm-hmm.
emotional crazy bubble. And then like coming out of it, I was just like, wow, I'm so grateful. Now it's 2025. Looking back, I'm halfway through with pregnancy, and like I'm just like so grateful. I'm like, wow, this baby no matter what you are, girl or boy, you're like a little soldier,
Yeah.
carrying me through
I
all
know
this.
who
And
it is, but I'm not gonna say. Damn it.
we'll save it for the next episode. We should make another like a baby episode. But yeah, it's a beautiful time to be pregnant. I'm just like grateful I'm able to do it for a second time.
We like sound like two annoying girls.
Why?
No, I mean like yeah, it's the truth, but it's just like what I'm saying. When you go through something hard and you listen to like our episode, you're like fuck you, but then you'll understand it, and I hope this will help someone to go through it.
For sure.
I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you for tuning in.